So good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our fifth session of the leadership training that we have initiated for the prefects. We've started in the middle of July, and we have completed 4 topics. What are the 4 topics that we've done? Anybody remembers? Look back into your books and tell me what are the 4 topics that you've done.
Vision, integrity, growth, and
one more. The first one, influence, right? So you can see the statements right on top of each of the beginning of each chapter. Influence is the ability. Can somebody read each one for me separately? Anaga, please read about influence. Abhishek, read about vision. Gilbert, please read about integrity. And Jesslyn, please read about growth. What is that initial statement that you see that we have understood about each of these topics?
Growth is the steady process of becoming who and what you aim to be. Growth requires focus, intentionality, and a sense of purpose.
Very good. Thank you very much, Justin.
Sir?
Abhishek.
So for vision, I've written only the blanks.
So read the full statement. A vision is you don't have the book with you.
So I have the book, sir.
Okay. So fill in the blanks and read. Can you do that?
Yes, sir. I'll just open the form and I'll complete the sentence. Sorry, sir. 1 second.
Okay. Somebody else read. Fuad, can you read, please? What happened to Anaga and who was the other one?
Yes, so just 1 second. I'm just getting the statement.
Fuad, please read about vision.
I'm ready, sir.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
A vision is a goal, an inspiration, or an idea that guides your life.
Very good. Vision is a goal, an inspiration, or an idea that guides your life. Okay. Influence. And who was supposed to read? Gilbert. Is Gilbert there? Read about growth. Sorry, integrity. Gilbert is not there.
I am just opening the.
Okay. All right, somebody else who has it ready?
Can I just read it, sir? So integrity is being truthful by living in a way that matches your words and actions.
Truthful by living in a way that matches your words and your actions. Okay. And the first one is influence. Did anybody get it?
I'll tell, sir.
Please.
Influence is the Influence is the power to inspire people to work together for a good or right cause.
For a greater goal or a right cause, absolutely. Right. So you see that each of these are very, very important truths and principles that you must live by if you want to be an efficient leader. We already learned that all of us are leaders anyway, because if you are influencing people, and inevitably we are leaders. And what remains to be seen really is whether you are influencing people in the right way or not, whether you are positively influencing or negatively influencing people. Vision gives you an idea. I was telling you about a purpose statement, a vision statement that you and I must have for our lives. Integrity. It is about being transparent, right? It's not about being perfect, boys and girls. It's about being transparent, not trying to hide your mistakes, but recognizing that we all make mistakes, right? And if we are truthful and we don't hide from each other and from those who follow us and from our peers, then we can just be absolutely transparent, and we don't have to please anybody. We don't have to be afraid of anybody. The moment you start keeping secrets, then you have to be scared. What if somebody comes to know? What if they find out what really happened, right? And one thing that you and I must realize, particularly as Indians, we are part of our Asian culture is a culture of shame. Okay, we must understand that, which is why very often we try to cover up and hide our mistakes. That is inbuilt in us. It is part of our Asian nature, Indian and Asian nature, to cover up our mistakes and to act a little more better than what we really are. So that is a weakness in our culture. And you and I have to overcome that by being more transparent and people of integrity, right? Living truthfully, living in a way that your words match your actions. And growth, right? Lifelong, we should be growing. We should not stop growing at any time, right? When you finish your studies, that doesn't mean you stop growing, right? You have to learn to become a lifelong learner, learn to adapt to the situation, learn to change, learn to overcome the difficulties. It's not easy, certainly. It's not something that we will enjoy, but when you know that you have to do something, start learning what needs to be done in order to get that work done, right? How can I do it? What is the knowledge that I lack? And so you need to call up people, you need to take the help of people. Can you teach me? Can you help me? Right? And start growing. And if you don't grow, boys and girls, you will be sidelined, right? The world will go on, the kingdom will go on, God's kingdom will go on, the institution will continue, but you will be sidelined and you will lose your position of influence if you are not growing. Today we are looking at initiative. A leader, a good leader, a servant leader is someone who shows initiative. So here's the statement. The blanks are: initiative is seeing what? What do you think can be put in that? Seeing dash that needs to be dash.
Problems that need to be fixed.
Correct. Initiative is seeing something or a situation that needs to be done or fixed. Very good. And having the what?
Sense of responsibility.
Very good. The actual word is courage, but you can use the word responsibility, right? Having the courage to start. The courage to start. Even if it means what? What do you think could be put there?
Failing.
Okay, failing is the second part, and making mistakes. But even if it means
To give up.
Sorry, Abhishek.
To give up.
To what?
To give up.
Not to give up. We shouldn't give up actually, but to take a risk, even if it means taking a risk and making mistakes along the way. Okay, so I'll say it again. Initiative is seeing something that needs to be done. And look, there is nothing hard and fast about this. You can always change the words, but so long as it makes sense. Like seeing problems, seeing a situation that needs to be rectified, seeing something that needs to be done, and having the courage to start, even if it means taking risks and making mistakes along the way. Okay, taking risks and making mistakes along the way. Right. One of the things that you and I must do, boys and girls, is how we have put into practice these things that we have learned. So one of the things we must do is to share, and I want you to come prepared next time. share how you are putting these 4 and today's lesson number 5 into practice in your life. Would you please do that? We are meeting next week, next Monday, and we'll be doing the next quality. But in the meantime, I would like you to think about how I have practiced influence. Who have I been able to influence in this last 1 month, right? We've completed 1 month of this seminar. We started on 13th of July. So who have I been able to influence, right? What is my vision, right? Some of you may have worked on a very primitive, very basic type of vision for your life based on what you have understood right now. Perfectly fine. But, share what is that vision that is guiding your life right now? Where have I had the opportunity to be a person of integrity, to be transparent? Okay, and please share an experience. And where have I grown in the last 1 month? Okay, would anybody like to share now? Does anything come immediately to mind? You're welcome to add that, and we can share that now. I see Mr. Koshi has joined us. Welcome, Mr. Koshi. He is a member of the organization that has given us this material. They are the ones who prepared this material for us. So we're grateful. He's just come to observe. Welcome, Mr. Koshi, to this seminar.
Thank you, sir, for the invite. It's a joy to see all of them responding and doing well. Let's hope that this training would be great in bringing out great leaders. Looking forward for that, and it's a joy to be. So I will be here for some time, and maybe I will.
Sure thing, sure.
Thank you so much. God bless.
Right, boys and girls, anybody would like to share anything that has happened in the past week or in the past 1 month? Anything that can encourage others, right? Remember, you're sharing not for yourself, but you're sharing to bless others. Any change that has happened in your life because of the things that you have learned. I know I'm putting you on the spot, so I do understand if you're not prepared, but it is good if we can come prepared to share what we have learned. Okay. All right. Next week, I would like at least 5 people to share. Any 5. Feel free, right? This is a place where we all learn together. We are not here to be perfect, or we are not here to show a perfect image, and there's nothing to be scared about. We are here to encourage one another. So feel free to share next time. All right, let's move on. Have you heard the word catalyst? I'm sure in chemistry you've understood what a catalyst is. What is a catalyst?
It initiates this rate of the reaction.
Slow down or make the reaction go faster.
Yes, a catalyst makes a change, isn't it? A catalyst makes a change in a reaction. So a catalyst initiates that change or makes the change, produces change in a situation, right? So also among us, boys and girls, you and I are called to be catalysts. A leader is a catalyst. Somebody who makes a change in a situation or between 2 people, right? You entered and you brought about that change. A person whose talk and enthusiasm and energy, causes others to become more friendly, to bring about a change in their life. So, this catalyst is introduced, isn't it, into the reaction, right? Now, when we talk about initiative, how can I become a catalyst? I need to take the initiative. So let's try to understand what is this word initiative. What do you understand by it? Right? Without just looking at the dictionary, just from what you have understood from common English, what does initiative mean?
Take charge.
Taking charge, yes, that's part of it.
To be the person to take the first step.
Taking the first step, you're absolutely right. Taking the first step.
To start.
To start, very good.
To take responsibility of a task.
Responsibility, very good. Anything else comes to mind? Yep, lead the team rather than pushing them, okay? Actually, it is rather than being pushed to take the first step without somebody else having to tell you to do that, right? To be able to look at a situation and say, okay, how can I solve this problem? And then you take the step to solve the problem without somebody else telling you, look, Jerry, you need to step forward and do something about it, right? Good leaders, servant leaders, they take the initiative. It could be about a problem situation, or it could just be a situation of, helping. It could be a situation of taking the initiative to bless someone. Okay. So that's what initiative is about. Let's look at the first question. Let me share my screen. Yeah. 3 things that contribute to team victory, right? That means if you want your team to win, what are things that you need to do? Sorry, I didn't share this. Yeah. 3 things that contribute to team victory. Can you suggest?
Coordination.
Yes. Anything else?
Listening to your teammates.
Listening, very good. Something more. Come on, there are many.
Encouraging your teammates.
Staying together.
What is that? I couldn't hear that.
Staying together.
Once more. Or put it in chat if we can't hear.
He said staying together, sir.
Is that working together? Did you say working together?
Perseverance.
Yeah, sir. Staying together, working together.
Very good, very good. So how do we stay together?
Leader who can be decisive while also listening to suggestions.
I don't know why.
By understanding each other.
Please tell me again. I don't know why things are not clear. Please tell me once more.
Vidita, please share your point.
A team leader who can be decisive and make decisions on behalf of the team while also paying attention and listening to other people's ideas. And
Good, yes, that is one of the key things. A team leader who is dedicated to the team and who will be able to ensure that victory is done. Who is dedicated to victory. So that's number 1. A leader who is dedicated to victory and who also takes the initiative to bring other people up, right? To bring other people up. Then, number 2, understanding that, yes, putting aside differences, but understanding that each one has a skill to bring to the group. There is a diversity of skills. I may not be able to do everything, and I can't do it as well as somebody else. So we all need to work together to do it. So understanding that there are other skills that there are other people that are good at doing certain things. So let's work together, a diversity of skills. And number 3 is what we said right in the beginning, that we need to have a common vision. We need to have a common vision, right? Some of you who are in class 10, I've been doing from the study of Philippians. And, we are studying about having joy in unity. And Apostle Paul is encouraging the Philippian church, and he's saying, I wish you would all have the same mind and the same love, right? And we said that having the same mind and love is not about thinking in the same way, because all of us will have different opinions. That is inevitable. But the same mind that we need to have is, look, we all have the same goal. I should be able to look at my colleagues, right? I should be able to look at my team and say, okay, he also has the same purpose in mind. So now I am able to set aside my difference and think from his side and try to find a common viewpoint. Remember, I told you, those who are in class 10, you will know from our class, there were 2 ladies in that church who were having serious problems. And it probably was a public issue, which is why Paul had to write a public letter to the church and say, please help them to sort out their differences. And, that can cause serious harm. And these are very good ladies. They're not selfish or, greedy or, things like that. They're very nice people, but they have a serious difference of opinion. And boys and girls, that's going to happen, isn't it? In your team, whichever team you're a part of or the team that you're leading, there will be difference of opinion. But we need to realize that all of us are working for a common purpose. And so together, we need to come up with a solution. It could be that I need to put aside my opinion and I'll say, okay, I will let go of my opinion and we will follow your advice, right? If we truly believe that all of us are working for the common purpose. So a unified vision we must have as a team. Okay. John Maxwell said, victorious leaders have one thing in common. They share an unwillingness to accept defeat. That's a very powerful statement. If a team of leaders say, we have to find a solution to this, we are not going to accept defeat, there is a way to work around the situation. You see, boys and girls, when we are leaders, often the tendency is to come up with problems. I have this problem, I have that problem. So another way to convert that or to become more efficient is this. Sir, this is the problem that I saw. These are the possible solutions that I would like to suggest. What did we do there? The person who talks like that, what has he done?
Taking initiative to bring up the problem.
Taking initiative to share that, look, there is a problem. And also I have thought of these 1, 2, 3, 4 solutions, right? That is actually the good leader. Someone who presents options to the person that you're reporting to, right? Rather than just presenting the problem. Presenting the problem is necessary, right? We can't cover it up, we can't hide it, but we also need to present the solution. That is what taking initiative is all about. Good. Okay. 4 things you need to start living with purpose. What do you think? 4 things that you need to start living with purpose.
An aim, a final goal.
You need an aim, you need a purpose, right? In order to be purposeful, we should have a purpose, isn't it? That's what we studied in vision. We studied, that we must be purposeful, right? Living intentionally. not living by mistake, not living just day to day, not living, as things come, but I choose to live intentionally. That means I wake up today and I say, today I'm going to do this, A, B, C, D. Very good. Right? Setting priorities and working towards that goal. Okay. So let me ask you, are you able to get up every morning and say, today I have a purpose and plan to do something? Right? That should be our aim. Right? Not just taking what comes your way, but saying, today when I wake up, okay, what all do I need to do? And what are the things, positive initiatives that I need to take? Yes, following your passion. So think about what is it that you love to do and say, how am I going to accomplish that? You see, that is initiative. So number one, having a purpose. Then number two, knowing your strengths and weaknesses. Okay, I hope you're writing as we talk. Please enter this. I think you're all using soft copy, so it's a PDF, so you can definitely add a text box for each of these and put in the statements. Know your strengths and weakness, right? These are the things that I'm able to do. These are the things that I'm weak in. So I need to work on these things, and we need to know that. Right? As I was teaching class 12, mark of maturity, a biblical concept of myself. I need to know what are my strengths, right? In modern psychology, in the last 50, 60 years, they have categorized people into 4 types, categorized temperaments into 4 types. You know what the 4 are? Anybody knows what the 4 are?
Sanguine, phlegmatic, melancholic, and choleric.
Yes, sanguine, phlegmatic, melancholic, and choleric. And each of us can be a combination of 2 or more. There are maybe 1 or 2 predominant tendencies in us, and there may be small bits of the others, right? And you can do, plenty of surveys, free surveys that are available, and you will find yourself having a combination of these 2 personalities. And then you will understand that all these 4 types of temperaments have both positive as well as negative sides to them. Right? A choleric is actually a strong leader. He is the one. He'll work all alone. I am a purebred choleric. Right? I will take on all the responsibilities, do everything by myself, sit up till 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the night, and make sure that it's done. The weakness is, what do you think the weakness should be of a choleric?
You won't learn to understand the strengths and weaknesses of other people.
I will not be able to appreciate others, yes. And
you try to do everything by yourself.
You become a workaholic and a perfectionist. What is a perfectionist? A perfectionist is someone who feels that nobody else can do as good a job as you can. That's a huge weakness, actually. On the one hand, it's good because you're aiming for perfection. On the other hand, you will not trust anybody else to do the job. You get tired, you get overworked, right? So, on the one hand, there are good things, and on the other hand, there are weaknesses. And you will be impatient with others. If you cannot tolerate low quality work, you will become impatient. You will start shouting, right? And then other people cannot work with you. So you must understand both strengths and weaknesses and then work towards it. Work towards improving, right? None of the 4 are the best. Nobody can say, oh, because I'm choleric or because I'm melancholic, that is the best personality to have. There's nothing like that. There are good and bad in all the 4. In all the 4. Okay. So knowing your strengths and weaknesses. Number 3, prioritize your responsibilities. Prioritize. What is my primary aim in life? What are the primary things I need to do today? Right? And what are the secondary? What are the urgent? What are the important? Right? I hope you know. Other teachers can help me. There is something called a square, no? What is that square called? Where you have urgent, important,
Not so important, and deletable.
deletable, right? I think I remember it in simpler words. Urgent, important, not urgent, not important. Basically these 4. Okay, and then you have these 4 squares. So boys and girls, very often we procrastinate and finally we handle things which are urgent. If you actually take a look at your life and your daily routine, you will find out that most of the time you are doing that which is urgent but not necessarily important. And the reason we find ourselves doing that is because what? We've procrastinated, we've delayed it so much, so often. A person who does what is important, not necessarily urgent, he does it in time, he does it in bits, and he focuses on that which is important. As the principal, if I get busy, bogged down with the tiny details of everything that happens in the school, I'm going to go crazy. I can't do that. Right? Oh, this spot was not cleaned. I can't go about doing that. I have to sometimes let go and expect that the person who is in charge of that, he will do it. And that somebody else will look after that. Right? So there are things sometimes I have to let go. Cleaning that spot is important, right? But is it important to me? Right? Is it my responsibility that the entire campus should be spotless? No. Right? By and large, it should be. Right? Now, if I pick up the mop and I go all over the campus, I'm doing not important work and I'm wasting my time. So I need to prioritize. I need to prioritize. Then, number 4, commit yourself to long-term achievement. Right? As we studied in the last class, we need to grow. It's not going to happen immediately. Right? If I want a process to happen in the school, it's going to take some time. It cannot happen instantly. Today I give the instruction, tomorrow it has to be implemented. No, it may not happen like that. It may take time. And that is something you and I need to commit ourselves to. Commit myself that I eventually, in a couple of days, in a week, in a month, in a year, over a period of 5 years, it's going to happen. Yesterday, I had a very interesting conversation with a young alumnus who is still in college, one of our own students. He said, "Sir, I have decided I want to become a teacher, right? And I want to know more about what it means to become a teacher." Right? And I was so excited to share with him because he's already thinking, he's in second year college, and he's already thinking, okay, what are the steps I need to do in order to become a teacher? That's a long-term goal. And each of us as leaders need to be thinking in those terms. Okay, let's go to the scripture. So question number 3, think about your daily schedule and write down ways that you can begin to live more intentionally as a leader. Each of you can write down what could be a purpose that is worth living for. Right? Purpose is not today I'm going to study or today I'm going to clean my room. That is not purpose. Right? Purpose is something greater than that. Right? Today I'm going to make a difference in my parents' life. Today I'm going to make a difference in my classmate. Today I'm going to bless others. Today I'm going to encourage others. Wake up with a purpose. Right? How can I make a difference in the world around me? Today I'm going to start taking care of my health. Today I'm going to start eating wisely. Know your strengths and weakness. Commit to using your strengths and overcoming your weakness. Today, I will what? Do something that I'm good at. Right? So recognize what is it that I'm good at and put it down. I'm going to improve my guitar skills. I'm going to learn a new chord and get better at it. I'm going to reach that note. Right? Today, I'm going to learn a new learning strategy. Right? Something that all of us struggle with, isn't it, boys and girls? We are struggling to study well. Why? Because we need several learning strategies, actually, in order to become a good learner. How to summarize a paragraph in the textbook. How to note important points. How to write an answer from a set of 3 points. How to make an elaborate answer. Right? You know the joke about the boy who studied about the cow, and in the question paper the question was about the tree. So you know what the boy did? His first statement was that he tied the cow to the tree, and then he wrote all about the cow. Right? And that's a skill that you and I need to learn, boys and girls. Right? You've studied something, and the paper has said something, asked you something else. You need to learn how to connect the two. Right? So that you will at least get some marks. Okay. All right. Prioritize your responsibilities and know what you need today, and don't be distracted from doing it. Okay, now let us look at the passage. This is a summary of 2 stories, right? And I'd like somebody to read. Nihal Cherian, can you please read for me? Nihal, are you there?
Yes, sir. God sent Samuel to anoint the next king of Israel while the current king, King Saul, was still on the throne. Samuel asked, "How can I do that? If Saul hears about it, he will kill me." God gave Samuel a plan, and Samuel did as the Lord instructed. When he arrived at Bethlehem, the elders of the town came trembling to meet him. "What's wrong?" they asked. "Do you come in peace?" "Yes," Samuel replied. "I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Purify yourselves and come with me to the sacrifice." Then Samuel performed the purification rite for Jesse and his sons and invited them to the sacrifice too. Samuel looked at each of Jesse's sons one by one, waiting for God to show him which one would be the next king. But the Lord said to Samuel, "Don't judge by his appearance or height. The Lord doesn't see things the way you see them. People judge by outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." After rejecting 7 of Jesse's sons, Samuel asked, "Are these all the sons you have?" There was one more, the youngest, a shepherd named David. He was dark and handsome with beautiful eyes, and the Lord said, "This is the one, anoint him." So as David stood there among his brothers, Samuel took the flask of olive oil he had brought and anointed David with the oil. And the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon David from that day on. Not long after this, the Philistines and Israelites were in an intense battle. For 40 days, morning, noon, and night, the Philistines sent a giant named Goliath out to taunt and terrify the Israelites. "Choose one man to come down here and fight me. If he kills me, then we will be your slaves. But if I kill him, you will be our slaves. I defy the armies of Israel today. Send me a man who will fight me." "Don't worry about this Philistine," David told Saul. "I'll go and fight him. The Lord who rescued me from the claws of the lion and the bear will rescue me from this Philistine." He picked up 5 smooth stones from a stream and put them into his shepherd's bag.
Yeah.
Then, armed only with his shepherd's staff and sling, he started across the valley to fight the Philistine. You come to me with sword, spear, and javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of heaven's armies, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. Today the Lord will conquer you. As Goliath moved closer to attack, David quickly ran out to meet him. Reaching into his shepherd's bag and taking out a stone, he hurled it with his sling and hit the Philistine in the forehead. The stone sank in, and Goliath stumbled and fell face down on the ground. David triumphed over the Philistine giant with only a sling and a stone, for he had no sword. David continued to succeed in everything he did, for the Lord was with him.
All right, thank you, Nimal. Take a look. You see two people who took initiative in this passage. One is Samuel, the other is David. Please tell me, as you read about Samuel, how did Samuel take initiative, number one? Number two, what prevented Samuel, or what hindrance Samuel faced?
He performed the purification rite for Jesse.
He what? Sorry, Nathaniel, I couldn't hear that.
Samuel performed the purification rite for Jesse and didn't make Jesse and his sons do the purification rite.
Okay. Yes, he did. He did the plan, or he acted out the plan that God had told him to do. Right? That is the purification. God told him. We read in the third paragraph. God gave Samuel a plan, and Samuel did that as the Lord instructed. Then, any other point of initiation?
I feel that Samuel didn't give up after seeing all the sons of Jesse, and then he asked if there's any more. I think that could be counted as an aspect of initiative.
Yes, certainly. Right? Imagine 7 people he had to pass through, and Jesse did not volunteer. That there's one more. Samuel had to ask, are there any more sons? Good. Anything else?
I think first of all, Samuel agreed to go with God's plan, and he went to Bethlehem. That was the first step of initiation that Samuel took.
Absolutely. That Samuel agreed in the first place to God's plan, because why? Saul is still alive. Right? Saul is still alive, and you know how long? This is close to 10 years, 15 years before David actually became king. That means Saul was reigning for another 10 to 15 years. And, God is telling Samuel, go and anoint the next king of Israel. Right? So, of course, Samuel didn't know that, how long it's going to take. But the fact is, Saul is still alive. And so, naturally, Samuel was concerned. But he obeyed. He obeyed. So, what was Samuel's purpose in life? What do you understand from that? This action is a very bold action of Samuel. Right? What do you understand about his purpose in life from what he did?
Obedience to God in everything he did.
Despite what?
So, despite the risks.
Yeah. See, Samuel's calling was not about loyalty to this king or that king. His loyalty was to God. Samuel is the one who anointed Saul also. But when God told Samuel, look, I have rejected Saul, and now I want you to go and anoint the next king, Samuel obeyed God. That was a treasonous act as far as Saul was concerned. But Samuel did what God required. And boys and girls, a servant leader who is a follower of God is somebody who will put God first in any situation. who will put God first in any situation. Right? If, as the principal, I ask you to do something that goes against the Bible, you have a choice to make. If you are faced in public with a situation where you have to make a choice between obeying a person who is corrupt, who is telling you to do the wrong thing, even your boss telling you to do the wrong thing, and God, you have to make a choice. And Samuel's purpose. So Samuel got up every morning thinking, today I want to please God. Today I will please God in everything that I do. And I'm willing to risk my life. Okay. So these are the initiatives that Samuel did. Now look at what David did. What were the external characteristics of David? External.
He was dark and handsome with beautiful eyes.
Dark, handsome with beautiful eyes, yes. Something more? Something more?
That he was just a kid.
Yes. He was the youngest. He was a shepherd. Right? All the other 7 sons were not shepherds. Right? They were warriors. They were already soldiers in the army of King Saul. But this young boy, because he was young, because he was the youngest, he was sent out to be the shepherd. Right? So he had several things going against him. Not the most natural selection to be the next king. But what was the most important thing that he had? As the Lord himself said to Samuel, the Lord looks at the heart. The Lord looks at the heart. The Lord looked at Samuel's heart, looked at David's heart, and he said, this is the man that I want to be the next king of Israel. Right? The next king of Israel. That was the most important characteristic, boys and girls. Okay, now look at some of the initiatives. Look further down and some of the initiatives that David did.
He told Saul that he would go and fight Goliath.
Yes, he is the one who took the initiative and said, I will go and fight him. Right? Then, something more?
So he had faith he could overcome the problem with God's help.
He was absolutely confident that he could overcome the problem. What gave him that confidence? Very important truth.
Because the Lord had rescued him from the lion and the bear.
Yes. What does that tell us, boys and girls? It tells us that God
Have a strong faith in God.
Strong faith, yes, but also practically.
He's always with us.
God gave experiences to David in his life to give him that confidence. Right? This is an important lesson. Right? We know that David fought a lion and a bear. Right? As a young shepherd, as a young boy, perhaps just a teenager, right? David fought a lion and a bear against, of course, the lion and the bear would have come to eat the sheep, to kill the sheep. So David fought against that. He developed certain skills in the process of fighting the lion and the bear. Very, very important lesson. Boys and girls, every phase of life, I know I've said it before, every phase of life is a preparation for the next. right? And God is preparing you through all your experiences, the hard, the most painful experiences that you have gone through, even failures and successes. All these experiences that God has led you through is preparing you for the next phase of your life. And you will realize it when you get into that, right? And I'll tell you my personal experience. When I was in Manipal as a lecturer of anatomy, suddenly they said, Jerry, I want you to be the hostel warden. Jerry, I want you to be on the disciplinary committee. Jerry, I want you to be the person who designs the curriculum. I was part of a American, medical school, and we had to get syllabus and curriculum from the US to frame, for appropriately for our school. Jerry, I want you to decide what kind of IT requirements we need in our school, in our medical school, how to set up the examination system. These are all unique experiences that I had, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed investigating and researching and finding out what is the best model of laptop, what is the best this, best that, getting the curriculum. Many senior professors of microbiology and physiology and all of them, they would come and say, Jerry, only you can get the right syllabus, and they would ask me to download and get the right thing for them. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I always wondered, why is God giving me these experiences? Little did I realize that God was actually preparing. I had no clue that God was preparing me to come to Clarence School. But all those experiences, boys and girls, was preparing me for this. A normal lecturer of anatomy would never have got those experiences. Would never have got those experiences. There are many of my colleagues who are still there in Manipal. They're just simply teaching. That's all they're doing, nothing more than that. Right? Their salary is only for that. Even my salary was only for that, only for teaching. I could have easily said no to all these things and still gotten the same salary. Right? But God was pushing me into those experiences and helping me to train myself, get trained, so that I could take up a higher responsibility. And in my ministry also the same thing. As just when I graduated, God gave me a chance to serve for 1 year in a mission organization, and I gave my life for 1 year to serve in that capacity. And that was a great training ground for many things that I could do later on. To organize a conference, to organize a camp, to disciple and mentor people, it was a training. So boys and girls, every experience and phase of your life is a training for the next. Remember that. Value it, cherish it. For David, he developed his skill when he fought the lion and the bear, so that he could gain from that experience. How did he know to pick up those 5 smooth stones? How did he know to use the sling? How did he know that he would be better with the sling rather than with the sword? Because common sense told King Saul and all the other soldiers, put an armor on David. Give him the biggest sword possible. And you know the story that when David put all this armor on him and he took the sword, he said, there's no way I can fight. I'm not used to these things. And they had to take all that off in order for him to actually fight. Right? So he understood his weakness and he understood his strength. I'm strong with these pebble stones, a sling, and my bag. That's it. I need to be agile. I need to be fast on my feet. And I know that I'm good with a sling and a stone. I am not good with armor, with the sword, with the shield, with the spear. Right? And so he was able to train himself that way. Okay, we need to go a little faster. So, David prepared himself very well. He took the initiative. He said, I will go. You know what gave him the confidence to say, I'm ready to go? It was the anointing. The anointing that happened a few chapters before. Maybe 1 year before this happened, or 2 years, we don't know. But that anointing, you are going to be the next king of Israel. So, boys and girls, can you think of an anointing experience or moment in your life? What I mean by that is, somebody has selected you and told you, Joanna, Nihal, Aaron, Kushi, Anaga, you have been chosen for this task. Right? That's an anointing moment in your life. That is somebody telling you, we believe you are capable. We believe you are the right person for this. Right? That should really empower you, boys and girls. It should empower you to do something great with that responsibility. And not to sit back and say, I'm going to enjoy my experience as a prefect. I'm going to, just relax and get the certificate at the end of the year, etc., etc. Right? Is there been any other anointing? I'm sure, the typical anointing that you would say is, yes, I was selected as prefect. Any other experience that you had in your life? Please share. When you were selected to do something. All right, think about that. I'm sure many more will come in the days to come, right? All of you already in your youth, you were recognized as leaders in the school. Certainly, God has a desire for you to take up leadership positions, to make a difference. It's not about status, boys and girls. It's nothing to do with status. It's about making a difference in your society, in your circle of friends, maybe in church, maybe in your company, whatever it might be, in the neighborhood, making a difference in the society around you. So, the last aspect, commit to practicing your leadership. Look around you. Is there anyone or anything under attack, under stress, anyone who's frustrated, anyone who is in sorrow, in pain? Ask God if He has prepared and chosen you to take action on anyone's behalf today. Take the first step to do something to help someone else today. And trust God to show up like He did for Samuel and David, and record what you did to take initiative and how God helped. Proverbs 27:12, a verse on initiative. A prudent person foresees danger and takes precaution. I was reading through an interesting story about the Jebusites. Anybody knows who the Jebusites are?
The people who inhabited Jerusalem.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yes. Jebusites are that. Gibeonites. I'm sorry. I keep getting confused with the two. Gibeonites.
They were the people who deceived Joshua.
Yes. Why did they do that? Why did they deceive Joshua?
Because Joshua was going to kill them anyway because they were Canaanites.
Yes, they were actually neighbors. They were Canaanites. And they all knew that, look, Joshua and the people of Israel are coming to kill us all. They understood that. They had seen the battle of Jericho. They'd seen the battle of Ai. And they knew that we're all going to be killed. And so, some of the kings got together and said, look, we're going to fight for our survival. The Gibeonites knew that fighting is not going to work. So they formed a ruse. They said, let's deceive. And so they saddled up donkeys, they put on old clothes, and they came looking as though they had come from very far. as though they were not from Canaan. And they forced Joshua to make a treaty with them, deceiving Joshua into thinking, okay, these people are not from Canaan, so it is okay to make a treaty with them. And then a few days later, 1 week later, Joshua realized these people have cheated me. So the point I was trying to make from that story is initiative. They saw the danger. They said it is better, that we do something different. And all the kings who came and fought against Joshua, they lost. They lost their lives also. They lost their kingdoms. But the Gibeonites were the only ones who survived because they took initiative. Think of Nehemiah, right? Nehemiah heard that the walls were crumbled. The walls of Jerusalem were destroyed. They were lying in ruins. And the people were unprotected. Nehemiah took initiative and he did something about it. Think of Daniel. When the king had the dream and the magicians and astrologers could not, interpret the dream and could not tell Nebuchadnezzar what the dream was. And Nebuchadnezzar ordered everybody should be killed, including Daniel and his friends. Daniel took the risk and said, give me one night. He sent word to the king saying, give me one night and I will pray and perhaps God will reveal the dream to me. And God did that. And God raised Daniel to a very high position. So taking risk, that's what we said. Initiative is seeing something that needs to be done and having the courage to start, even if it means taking risks and making mistakes along the way. Is there anything you would like to ask? Any question? Any thing you need to add? Please ask.
Sir, I had one question about being anointed or being chosen.
Yeah, tell me.
So suppose you're working towards a specific post and then you don't get that post, like you don't get to be chosen.
Yeah.
How do we deal with discouragement at that time?
Yeah. See, when something is not in our hand, the result is not in your hand. We just need to accept it, right? We need to accept that was not meant for me. And if something is meant for me, then whether I'm prepared for it or not, it will come. Right? It will come. So, there could be a situation where I didn't get the job or I didn't get that appointment. I need to realize that perhaps this was not the time for me. Right? I'll give you an example. Many years ago, when I first became principal, there was a very, very nice boy in class 12 who was very upset with the selection of prefects because he was not chosen. Right? And he came and said, sir, I think that was very, very wrong. I should have been chosen. And I told him very frankly, I was never a prefect when I was in school. And even when I stood for elections for the post of secretary in my college, I lost. I came second out of 3 people. But at the right time, God brings those positions of responsibility into our life. So accepting that perhaps this was not the time and this was not the post. And it is in God's appointed time, those things will happen in my life. So it's about understanding the sovereignty of God, isn't it?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, another question. What happens when you take initiative and people don't listen, even if you stand your ground? Okay, so initiative has to be combined with cooperation and a willingness to work together. Okay, when you take initiative, it doesn't mean that you are pulling people along. Like, for example, Nehemiah. Nehemiah inspired. He did not force. He went around, he did a careful study, and then he inspired the people to say, come, let us rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. And so you and I need to, look, I'm a person who has a lot of dreams about the school, about the church, about how things should go. But I believe in consensus. You know, I may have my dream, but if God has not convinced anybody else, I will speak about my dream. I will share about my dream to other people. But if it's not convincing, then I should realize that maybe that is my own dream. It's not from God. Okay? All right. Dorothy asks, how do we know that God is directing us to a particular path in our life? His will for our life. Yeah. It's a slow process. You know, as you understand what are your strengths, your weaknesses, what are the subjects you're good at, what are the special passions of your life, right? God will lead you step by step, right? And you take the step as you understand what is your passion, what is your interest, what is your interest in the subject, what are the things that you feel you're good at. You take that step and get better at it. And God will lead you and direct you step by step. Okay. Yeah. All right, I think we've crossed the time. If there are no other questions, we can close for the day. We'll meet next Monday for the next topic.